Is it Cat Grizz or Grizz Cat? I say we let the guys decide on the field Saturday. Welcome to This Week in Big Sky Football.
3, 2, 1, go!
Hello and welcome to This Week in Big Sky Football. I'm your host, Megan Robinson. It is the final Saturday of the regular season, which means it is time for one of the greatest rivalries in all of college football, the Brawl of the Wild. Will Montana head to Bozeman and hand Montana State their first loss of the season, or will the Bobcats achieve that elusive perfect 12-0 record? Here to talk more about this marquee matchup is head coach of the Cats, Brent Vigen. Coach Vigen, congratulations on winning at least a share of the Big Sky Championship last weekend. How did it feel in that game?
Well, it was a big game and a tough opponent. We jumped out to a lead that you felt like as that second half wore on was going to be enough, and ultimately it was just enough to walk out of there with a win, a share of the conference title, and the automatic bid. Awfully exciting for us. Certainly something we appreciate, but we want to win it outright and finish out our season. That's what we intended on doing.
You said two words came to mind after that game: resilient and belief. Why those two words?
Well, I think the way it played out, our guys needed to weather the storm, and that's sort of that resiliency piece of this team. I think continues to play out. Not all things that happen to us are going to be good through the course of a football game, and our ability to bounce back has been very strong this year. I think the belief piece is just that was a team win. Offense played its part, defense played its part, and certainly special teams did. And if not for all three, we wouldn't have won that game. So I think just the belief in, our guys collectively in themselves, first off, and then, belief in the coaches, belief in the plan, and believe that somehow, some way we were going to find a way.
Looking ahead to the final week of the regular season, you're hosting Montana for the Brawl of the Wild. What makes this rivalry so special to college football?
Well, I think as time's gone on, interstate, interconference rivalries like this have been lessened. We have 40 plus guys from the state of Montana. I believe they do as well. There's a lot of high school teammates on opposing sides here, and they represent at the same time, all these Montana guys do, several different communities across the state of Montana. So everybody is really engaged in this game and this outcome, and that's the passion that college football brings out of a fan base, or in this case, a state. These games just don't exist in this form very much. So, I'm very grateful to be a part of it. Obviously want to get us back on the right side of this deal.
Taco Dollar had a punt return for a touchdown against UC Davis. Junior Bergen is the Big Sky all-time leader in punt return touchdowns. How big of an impact will special teams have on this game?
In games like this, it can be one of those types of plays that swings momentum. And if it's not for a big play, ultimately you want to have some kind of edge come out of special teams, because field position is such a critical piece to how we go about trying to win football games. We hope to gain the edge in special teams. Unique situation that both those young men are from Billings, Montana, and Taco's had a phenomenal year for us, and we certainly hope that he gets a chance to leave his mark on Saturday.
With a win on Saturday, the Bobcats will cap off a perfect 12-0 regular season. They will be the Brawl of the Wild champions and the Big Sky outright champions. What would accomplishing all of that at home mean to you?
We positioned ourselves to have a lot on the line here in our final regular season game. And fortunately for us, we've put in the work and we've been really consistent to have the stakes continue to increase. And that's where we want to be. Cat Grizz brings out the best of our emotions, and certainly our fan base will be ramped up. It would be very meaningful. Our goals wouldn't be complete by any means, but to be Big Sky Conference champions, to win Cat Grizz, and to secure hopefully home field on Saturday. We'd knock a few of them out all in one day.
With me next, head coach of the Grizz, Bobby Hauck.
Definitely. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. See you next week.
Bye.
All right. Thanks. All right. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Welcome back to This Week in Big Sky Football. I'm Megan Robinson, joined now by head coach of the Montana Grizzlies, Bobby Hauck. Coach, your team overcame a first half shutout and a second half power outage to come back and beat Portland State. What did you learn about your guys in that victory?
Well, one thing, we need to play better on offense in the first half. We played really well in the second half. Our defense was terrific. Just giving up three. Our guys are pretty persistent. They go hard. They play throughout, and it's a 60-minute game. Certainly, we were better in the end, but I'm glad it didn't end at halftime. We lost 3-0.
Talked about your defense having a good first half. One of the standouts on defense in that game was Jace Kluswich, had 2 picks in that win, earning himself Defensive Player of the Week honors. How have you seen him evolve throughout this season?
Jace, a guy who's improved a lot in his time here, and he's picked a good time towards the end of his junior year to be playing his best football. So he's a good dude. Everybody likes him. So we were excited for him to be named Big Sky Player of the Week. And obviously, when you're coming up with the ball in terms of takeaways, it's a big play for your team.
Eli Gilman rushed for over 100 yards for the first time since September in your win on Saturday. What do you think that does for his confidence as we approach the final game of the season and the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't think he's a guy that needs a confidence boost in any form. I think he's a confident guy, and anytime you're splitting carries between two guys, that 100-yard mark comes and goes a little bit. I think that generally speaking, if we were to give Eli the ball 25 times a game or 30 times a game, he'd eclipse that mark week in, week out.
Looking ahead to this weekend, the Brawl of the Wild, what word would you use to describe this rivalry and why?
Well, it's a big game in Montana. We don't have any pro teams, so we're the 2 focal points. We're trying to get our 75th win in this rivalry game. That's a lot over one opponent, and we certainly are going to try hard to get it. When you ask me for one word, I just use the term rivalry. It kind of defines the college football rivalry game in terms of the passion that surrounds it and the interest it garners in the locale of these 2 schools.
You held Dante Sacheret to less than 200 yards passing and only 6 rushing yards. How is facing a dual threat quarterback like Sacheret good preparation for facing another dual threat quarterback like Tommy Mellott this Saturday?
The key stat in that game is the 6 yards rushing, because he can really hurt people on quarterback run stuff, and a lot of it's escape stuff where he's got people in man coverage and their backs turned, and he just runs for touchdowns when he gets going, because he's extremely fast. Tommy is a fast kid as well, but it's a different type of preparation because the offense we're facing this week is more option based. He's reading stuff, and it's more designed quarterback run or quarterback read plays.
What would it mean to you to go into Bozeman and win the Great Divide Trophy for back-to-back seasons for the first time since 2015?
This is a big game on the schedule. Obviously, you're always trying to win it. The home team has had great success over the past few years and won by a large margin. So, for us, it'd be great to get down there and win it. And obviously, they're going to try really hard to keep it.
Kekoa Visperas helped lead Eastern Washington to a historic night of offense. Hear from our Player of the Week after this.
We never set out to be the largest casino resort in the Pacific Northwest. We just wanted to be the best. But we forgot that being the best means more guests wanting more action, more jackpots, more big-name entertainment, more pedicures. Well, more everything. Until one day, you look up and realize, we need a new hotel tower. The new River Tower, to be exact. Northern Quest in Spokane, Washington. Now the largest. And yes, still the best.
Kekoa, you accounted for 4 of Eastern Washington's 11 touchdowns on Saturday and contributed to the Eagles' 700-plus yards of offense. How does it feel to receive your first Offensive Player of the Week honor of your career?
It was special. It's huge. It's always an honor to get recognized by people higher than yourself. And I don't know, I'm just honored and blessed and thankful to have the teammates and people I do on my side of the ball.
What was clicking for you guys offensively on Saturday?
I would say it's been since 2 years ago. We're a experienced group, and our experience comes with each other. So playing with each other for that long, and then going through the adversity we've been through, just to have a game like yesterday was special, or on Saturday was special. Just for the seniors for the last one.
That was your last home game of the season. How special was it to send your seniors off with such an historic win?
It was incredibly special. I have a lot of relationships with the guys that are going to be leaving next year. Kind of sickening in the heart, but no, it was huge. It was special. It was an honor, and it was just a good farewell to them for their last game on the Red.
You went 14 for 14 on passing attempts. How difficult is it to achieve the perfect completion percentage?
I mean, I feel like when you put the work in and the hours in, at some point, you're due for a payout. But it wouldn't be possible without the dudes, the five that I have up front, and some that we rotate in, as well as, I mean, 12 of them were the seven. So Efton Chisholm the third is a dude and helps me look good on Saturdays. Credit to the guys around me. They kind of make it all happen. They get open when they need to. And I just put the ball where it needs to be.
You mentioned Efton. When I've spoken to him in the past, he's talked about your strong relationship and how you make him look good. You just said he makes you look good. How would you describe your relationship with Efton?
That's my brother. I've been back home to his house a couple times. Met the fam, been around them, got to spend some quality time with them as well. And so, our relationship is something that's special, and something that just can't be broken. I'm extremely grateful for that relationship, and it's just helped us get to where we are now, and I'm extremely blessed to be able to play with somebody like him.
Going back to your completion percentage, as we said, it was perfect on Saturday. You lead the Big Sky in completion percentage this season. What is the key to being on the same page as your receivers?
It's hours, it's stacking days, and that comes in the off season, in the darkness when nobody's watching. And I think it just ends up coming to light when the lights are on. It's just something that we put a lot of hours in. We want this to be the the outcome that we receive. We've been looking for a perfect game on the opposite side of the ball since the start of the season. To be able to get that done on Saturday and really show that to the rest of the world was special and huge, and something that like a lot of the seniors and even myself won't forget.
Still to come, Grace Lawrence and Kyle Hansen have been following the Cats and Grizz all season long. They're here next with more on this rivalry. Welcome back to This Week in Big Sky Football. I'm Megan Robinson, joined now by two Scripps Sports sideline reporters, Grace Lawrence and Kyle Hansen, who have been covering the Cats and the Grizz all season long. So excited to have you both here today to talk a little bit about the brawl. Grace, I'll go to you first. What has been your favorite moment of covering the Bobcats this season?
Well, definitely this weekend is up there. It probably is number one, the way that the Bobcats were able to run away with it and being able to cover something like that. But I was talking with a couple guys on the team a couple weeks ago, and New Mexico still stands out. Week 0, national television, a redshirt freshman in Adam Jones has that 93-yarder. Scottrey Humphrey, sophomore, punches it past the goal line. The 2-minute drill was just perfectly executed. And since talking with the team since that moment, it really has sparked this undefeated run they've been on. We're now in week 12, 13, and these close games are happening, and they're still thinking back to that week 0 moment at New Mexico. So I would definitely say New Mexico, and then covering, the de facto Big Sky Championship this weekend of 2.
Kyle, what about you? What's been your favorite moment covering the Grizz this season?
Well, there's never been a boring game, that's for sure. There was that 3-game stretch between Western Carolina, Eastern, and Weber where it was just nonstop shootouts. Meg, you were obviously at the Weber State game and saw it, and that was just absolutely bananas. And then from there, it was the road trips to Cal Poly, which I'd never been to and was a beautiful venue, going back to Northern Colorado, which was like kind of a weird game in its own right. And then some of these home games, whether it's the big one against Davis or now this power outage game that everyone's going to remember against Portland State. Do this for a while now, and you get to see some of these players from when they're freshmen kind of cutting their teeth on scout team to now, being starters or captains, or Trevin Gradney, who I've covered from my very, very, very first job in journalism when he was like 15 years old, now being the 37 for the Grizzlies. Like, you get to see some of those as time goes on, and that's always a lot of fun, and get to know these guys. And that's always been a special part for me, especially now that we lead into the biggest game of the regular season for both of these teams.
Kyle, this will be your third time covering the Brawl. How would you describe the atmosphere of this game to people like me who have never been?
It's absolutely insane. And it punches so far above its weight that people, like, I grew up in the state of Montana, so I always was kind of with this game, always watched it every single year. It's just so special because it just means so much to the state. It's kind of the one thing that the state has, like, in terms of a sports rivalry. There's no pro teams or anything like that, but we have this awesome college rivalry that it's at the FCS level, but it beats rivalries at the FBS level. It's so cool to see so many of the Montana kids get a chance to do this, but then so many of the kids who aren't from Montana who get a chance to also be a part of it, leave their legacies, and they get into it and they're like, this is why I came to MSU or U of M. I wanted a big time college football rivalry, and that's what they get.
Grace, this will be your first time covering the Brawl. What are you most looking forward to about this matchup?
Oh gosh, just the stakes and the passion. This season in particular is very special. There's so many seniors on Montana, and also Montana State. There's 23 of them, and so many of Montana kids within that who will be playing in their last Brawl. And I think that's what's most special is just this senior class and how big it is. And it all kind of culminates to this game. And the Bobcats in particular could walk away with a 12-0 record. Never happened before, an outright conference championship, home field advantage, and a top 2 seed throughout the playoffs. So I'm really excited for the stakes and the passion. And this game brings out, the best in some of these guys, especially these Montana guys. So I'm excited to kind of see maybe even another level that we haven't seen from the Bobcats or the Grizz this season.
Ahead, former All-American wide receiver Sammy Akem returns with game picks. Welcome back to This Week in Big Sky Football. I'm your host, Megan Robinson. This Saturday, the NAU women's cross country team will have the opportunity to become the first women's program from the Big Sky Conference to win a national title. Will they get it done in Madison? Here's what's going on around the Big Sky. For the fourth time in the last 6 seasons, Northern Colorado Volleyball is the regular season champion. The Bears swept Weber State to clinch at least a share of the title. They will earn the top seed in the Big Sky tournament and the title outright with a victory in one of their final 2 matches. Montana State women's basketball is off to their best start since the 2003-2004 season. Esme Morales and Mara Dykstra each scored 21 points to help lead the Bobcats to a 77-59 win over UC Davis and a 4-0 record. Matt Koning's 24 points helped lead the Montana Lady Grizz to an 82-68 win over Washington, handing the Huskies their first loss of the season. Montana has combined to win the last 3 meetings against Washington in football and basketball. Money Williams had a career night versus Tennessee, scoring 30 of Montana's 57 points. After the game, Bulls fans donated thousands of dollars to a GoFundMe for the guard after learning he was caring for his siblings following the loss of both his parents. In cross country, the NAU women finished second and the men finished third in the NCAA Mountain Regional to clinch their spots in the NCAA Championship. 2 individuals from the Big Sky also qualified, Weber State's Peter Visser and Northern Colorado's Regina Umagachi. The title race will take place Saturday in Madison, Wisconsin. That's what happened this week around the Big Sky. With me now for the 3rd time this season, All-American wide receiver Sammy Akem. Sammy, so great to have you back for the Brawl. Who better to be here than someone who's actually played in it? What is this game like as a player?
Nothing like Cat Grizz, nothing like Grizz Cat, nothing like the Brawl of the Wild, the Battle of the Brawl, whatever you want to call it. I remember one of our seniors talking about how important it was to make sure we kept the trophy at home, because when he came in as a freshman, the trophy wasn't there. And I'll never forget that trophy leaving. We never gained control of that trophy again. I didn't get to touch, because my freshman year, we walked past it every day, we touch it. It was gone for 4 years. And my senior year, we finally got it back. And I remember those last couple of weeks, me being in the facility, just touching it and be like, man, like, it's been a long time since I've seen this thing, man. Like, oh, it's special.
Let's pick some other games. Lots of teams in playoff contention for the Big Sky. First up, Eastern Washington heading to NAU. NAU, one of those teams hoping for a playoff berth. Who do you like in this one?
Oh, man. I if I'm talking about what I want for the Big Sky, I want NAU to win this game. I truly, truly do. I think Eastern's going to win, though. I'm going to take Eastern in that game, but I would love NAU to win that game for the betterment of the Big Sky.
Moving on to the Causeway Classic, both UC Davis and Sacramento State coming off losses. A win this week should secure UC Davis a first round bye in the playoffs. Who you got?
I got UC Davis. I feel like UC Davis can probably win this game by 3 to 4 scores.
Finally, our game of the week, the Brawl of the Wild, Montana heading to Montana State. Will the Grizz ruin the Cats' bid for a perfect season, or will the Cats go 12-0? Sammy, who you like?
If there was ever a year for somebody to play spoiler, I think it'd be this year. I think Montana is going to have something to prove in Bozeman, and I think the Grizz are going to play spoiler for a perfect season for the Cats this week.
I feel like there was a hint of bias in that pick, but Sammy, I will allow it. Thank you so much for tuning in every week for This Week in Big Sky Football. Saturday will put an exclamation point on what has been a great season. Once again, I am Megan Robinson, and I will see you all in January for This Week in Big Sky Basketball. For all the latest Big Sky content, subscribe to our YouTube channel.